Why do you think so many American Jews are liberal?
Right. This is a simple question, but not a short answer. I'm going to go through it as quickly as I can. In order to be called a Jew, even to call yourself a Jew, is different than any other religion that's out there. In order to call yourself a Christian, you have to believe something. You have to believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior. If you believe this, you're a Christian. If you don't believe this, then you're not a Christian. If you do believe this, there are certain rites and rituals and teachings and practices and behaviors that tend to follow. To call yourself a Muslim, you have to believe something. You have to believe that the Quran is the final testament of God and Muhammad is perfect messenger. If you believe this, you're a Muslim. If you don't believe this, you're not a Muslim. If you do believe it, there are certain rites and rituals, practices, and behaviors that tend to follow. But to call yourself a Jew, you don't have to believe anything. All you have to do is plop out of a Jewish womb. Right, so let's call these Jews the Plopping Jews. And there's absolutely no reason. Sometimes they call secular Jews. I think Dennis Prager calls them the non-Jewish Jews. There's nothing Jewish about them except that action which was not there, which was involuntary. So why would you expect this largest section of Jews who aren't Jews to think in any way like a Jew or give about Jewish things? Then
go for it. Go for it. Keep going.
Okay. Then you have your three groups of Jews who are in any way Jewish at all. You've got in ascending order of practice and belief, Reform Jews, Conservative Jews, and Orthodox Jews. The Reform Jew has done one thing. Now, in order to be a Reform Jew, there are others who do more, but in order to be a Reform Jew, you've done one thing Jewish by choice your entire life. Anybody know what it is? No, Bar Mitzvah was, you're still too young to make that choice.
Circumcision.
You got circumcision. Would you make that choice now? Or maybe you have, sir. By the way, I think it's fair to let you know my Jewish upbringing was as a Plopping Jew. My Jewish experience growing up consisted of 3 days. At the age of 8 days, people I barely met a week ago took a knife to my most sensitive part. They were so pleased with what they had done, they threw themselves a small party. 12 years and 357 days later, I said words in a language I didn't understand. They told me I was a man. They were so happy they had survived my childhood, they threw themselves apart. Almost exactly 10 years later, I stepped on a glass and I was married. They were so happy I was moving out of the house. They threw themselves this gala. So that was my Jewish upbringing. I've actually been trying to become more Jewish because Judaism, I wouldn't be a conservative because I'm a Jew. I would learn how to be a Jew because I'm a conservative. Because there is a Jew. The one thing they do, by the way, is they join a synagogue, the Reform Jews. But they don't join a synagogue to better learn and better practice Judaism. They join a synagogue because it's the local recreation center. Right? It's cheaper than the country club. And while it's more expensive than the YMCA, they don't have to worry about getting naked in front of strangers. I can tell you exactly when a Plopping Jew becomes a Reform Jew. If he's single, it's the first time he looks in the mirror and goes, "Oi." Where am I going to find somebody who thinks Marvin Hamlish is a catch? Right? You can't go to the country club, you got to go to where there are Jews. Is that it? Oh, no, but one more quick point about this. There is a direct line, not horizontal, a diagonal line, from non-Jewish Jews to a little bit Jewish Jews to conservative Jews to Orthodox Jews that reject liberalism. The Reformed Jew, the secular Jew votes Republican almost not at all. The Reformed Jew just a little more. The conservative Jew more. The Orthodox Jew doesn't have anything to do with the Democratic Party. Because modern liberalism is the antithesis of Judaism. The great gift of the Jews was the concept of justice. It was the first time there was a just God who expected us to attempt with our humanity to be just people. The an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth, so often misrepresented, is really a call for justice. It's a call for not vengeance, quite the opposite. It was the first time that they said the punishment shall not exceed the crime. I don't care who you are. Liberals don't want justice, which is why they insert a modifier before the word. That's right, they insert a modifier, and it's something they do over and over and over again to make concepts that we support into the opposite. For example, truth matters. Okay, it's important to be correct, but not when you're a liberal. Objectivity is undesirable. So they insert the modifier politically before correct, and it becomes the opposite. How is it that Jews are not a minority, but women who are a majority are a minority? Because they insert the modifier oppressed. The Jews aren't an oppressed minority, so it has nothing to do with the word. And social justice is the opposite of justice. So the more Jewish you are by knowledge, by practice, by education, the less likely you are to vote Democrat, because Democrats despise the concept of justice.